Hello and welcome. In today's video, it's actually a part 2 of us tier ranking my Animal Crossing villagers. If you haven't watched the first part, go ahead and watch that, where I basically tier rank my main villagers in my main island. But I do have a second island that's a lot newer that I'm going to be tier ranking in this video. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We have our very top tier, which is A for 100% perfect. Our second tier is B, which is let's be neighbors, let's be friends. Definitely happy you're on my island. Then we have C, which is I'll allow it. You know, I don't hate that you're on my island, but I also don't love it. You know, we're just kind of acquaintances here. And then we have D, which is just basically why. Why are you here? I'd really love it if you popped up a bubble above your head and, you know, just moved away. And then the last prompt we have is F, and that is very much so get off my island. So sorry, you're just not the vibe for me. Please leave ASAP. In the first part, we actually had a spoiler for one of the ones that was in this tier ranking one because she lovingly moved from Kingdom to Briarmoor. And I just loved that so much. And if you can't tell, I'm being very sarcastic. So let's go ahead and put her picture up here. Becky. Yes, it's Becky. Becky was on my Kingdom Island and then she moved away and I forgot to fill in a spot and she took it on Briarmoor. So she was a get off my island beforehand, but now that she is on Briarmoor, she is definitely a get off my island. But let's not dwell. Let's have positive vibes for the most part and move on to the next one, which is Bengal. Bengal is actually a 100% perfect. I love them so much. They were one that I didn't expect to love as much. I knew I liked them beforehand, but just having them on the island and hanging out with them is just great. Love it. The next villager is Boomer, and he is a C. I'll allow it. I don't mind having Boomer. He's fun every now and again, but his name is just very unfortunate. Next up, we have Stitches, which I'm sure everyone would expect to be a 100% perfect, but he's actually a B. Let's be neighbors. I really like Stitches, so I can kind of understand the hype he gets, but some of the hype he gets I just can't understand. Next up is Plucky. I don't know what it is with me and chickens, but we don't really vibe. So Plucky is in the D category. Why? It's just not for me, you know? Next up, we have Pango, which is another C. I'll allow it. Pango hasn't really been on my island for long, so I don't really have anything negative or positive to really say about them. But the next one, Shep, he's a 100% perfect. I love Shep so much. I fell in love with Shep in New Leaf, and he's had my heart ever since. Next up, we have Aurora, who is definitely a B. Let's be neighbors. I love her design. I think she's just so cute, and she's always happy-go-lucky. She always brings up the mood whenever she's around. Next up, we have Boyd. If you know me, you're not surprised by this. He is a F. Get off my island. Me and primates do not mesh well. And I can't remember how he got on my island, but it wasn't me allowing him to be there. Next up, though, is Dom, and I do appreciate him being on my island. He is a 100% perfect, and he was actually one of my starters on Briarmoor, which I was so excited to have. Next villager we have is Annalise, and they're another I'll allow it in the C category. Again, don't really love them, don't really hate them. In the last episode, I talked about Coach moving away, and there was a spot open, and I messed up with filling it up. I thought I had set the right date so I could fill it up properly, but I hadn't, so someone filled it in, and it was Annalisa. She wasn't on Briarmoor for long, so I didn't get a positive or negative vibe from her, but her moving on to Kingdom without being asked, I don't know, it's starting to become a negative. And then next up is Colton. He's a Y. You know, I wanted to like him, but I just don't. And I don't really have a good reason either. And then last up, because like I said, very short list this time, because we've had the island for a lot less time. But it's one that we've seen before. Allie. And just like in Kingdom, she is a D in Briarmoor as well. She's a Y. I can't remember what I said in the other video, but it's just her vibe doesn't work with me, and I just don't appreciate the cross moving over. Some people I would appreciate that with, you know? Like Lyman or Dom, you know? I would most certainly appreciate the crossover, but only if you're a 100% perfect. And then maybe if you're a Let's Be Neighbors. But if you're a C or below, I'm sorry, it's not going to be a pleasant experience for either of us. But yeah, so those are my tier rankings. You know, maybe next year we'll do an updated, and maybe some of these people will change their positions, especially the ones that have moved in. They'll either go down or they'll convince me of their amazingness and go up. So definitely let me know if I tier ranked these in the way that you would, if you would change the tier ranking of any of these villagers. And also, you can also let me know just how you tier rank your own villagers that you've had on your island. Because I always find it interesting, the villagers that people love and the villagers that people hate. Because I'm sure there's someone out there that loves Becky or loves Boyd and absolutely hates Shep and Stitches, you know? But yeah, so thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!